The former governor of South Carolina and UN Ambassador Nikki Haley has announced she's running for president for 2024. And the attacks started almost immediately. This weekend on MSNBC, a left-wing columnist from the Daily Beast went after Haley hard and heavy. Here's how Mr. Ali started his attack.
To quote Zora Neale Hurston, not all skin folk are kinfolk.
Not all skin folk are kinfolk. Now, that's a true statement, actually. I can't deny that there are people I don't like that have the same color skin as I do. But what this guy was implying is that Nikki Haley only cares about white people even though she has brown skin. Which, as you'll see, he fails to provide any proof of why he says that. But he does reveal his true agenda in the end. Now, back to the attack on Haley.
Nikki Haley instead is the Dinesh D'Souza of Candace Owens. She's the alpha Karen with brown skin. And for white supremacists and racists, she's the perfect Manchurian candidate.
She's the Dinesh D'Souza of Candace Owens, the alpha Karen with brown skin, the perfect Manchurian candidate for white supremacists. We're just 15 seconds into this clip, and he's attacked her in 4 different ways. Now, let's find out why he thinks so poorly of Mrs. Haley.
Instead of applauding her, I am just disgusted by people like Nikki Haley who know better, whose parents were the beneficiaries, as Asha said, of the 1965 Immigration Nationality Act, which passed thanks to those original BLM protesters and the Civil Rights Act. Her father came here because he was a professor. He taught at a historically black college in South Carolina. That's how she became the proud American that she is. And yet, what does she do? Like all these model minorities, which, by the way, is a strategy of white supremacy to use Asians in particular as a cudgel against black folks. Instead of pulling us up from the bootstraps and pulling others from the bootstrap, we're taught to take your boot and put it on the neck of poor browns, immigrants, refugees, and black folks. And that's what she did in her ad.
Aww. He's sad because her family benefited from legislation that was passed in 1965, and she should know better. She should be pulling other brown and black people up by their bootstraps, but instead, she was taught to put her boot on the necks of poor brown and black people. And his proof is her political ad that she put out announcing her candidacy. Well, let's check out the part of the ad he's talking about.
The railroad tracks divided the town by race. I was the proud daughter of Indian immigrants. Not black, not white. I was different. But my mom would always say your job is not to focus on the differences, but the similarities. And my parents reminded me and my siblings every day how blessed we were to live in America. Some look at our past as evidence that America's founding principles are bad. They say the promise of freedom is just made up. Some think our ideas are not just wrong, but racist and evil. Nothing could be further from the truth. I have seen evil. In China, they commit genocide. In Iran, they murder their own people for challenging the government. And when a woman tells you about watching soldiers throw her baby into a fire, it puts things in perspective. Even on our worst day, we are blessed to live in America.
That's weird. I missed the part about the boots on the necks of poor brown and black people. But I do understand why he attacks her the way he does. If you're a person of color and don't fall in line, the left will make an example of you. Why? To stop others from stepping out of line. You see, Nikki Haley says America is the best country in the world, and that makes her bad. And they can't let people of color believe such a thing. To the left, saying that America is the best country in the world is the equivalent of saying you hate black and brown people. At least, that's what the indoctrinated left believe. I suspect this columnist, as many influencers on the left do, is actually using black and brown people to further his agenda. Some of that being a political agenda, and some of that being a financial agenda. Ironically, they end this segment by disparaging people that would vote for her as people who would never accept her because of racism.
So I see her and I feel sad, Mehdi, because she uses her brown skin as a weapon against poor black folks and poor brown folks, and she uses her brown skin to launder white supremacist talking points. And the reason why I feel sad, because no matter what she does, Mehdi, it'll never be enough. They'll never love her. And if you don't believe me, what did Ann Coulter, Tell proud American Nikki Haley 2 days ago, go back to your country. Nikki,
go back.
They'll never love you.
Go back.
It ain't worth it.
Go back to where you came from, which is the ultimate racist insult, and of course the title of your book.
There's your proof that white people would never accept Nikki Haley. Ann Coulter said something bad about her. And Ann Coulter speaks for all white people, don't you know? You know what? Let's compare what Coulter said to what Ali said. On a podcast, Coulter said that Haley should go back to India, and that maybe Ann should immigrate to India and tell them to stop worshiping cows. And she said that because Haley supported the taking down of statues. Her beef with Haley is based on something she could actually articulate. Ali never did say why he thinks so poorly of Haley. He just baselessly insulted her over and over again. And he did it because of her skin color. I'd say that's worse than what Ann Coulter said. At least Ann could give a reason why she didn't like Haley. And telling someone to go back to where they came from is not the ultimate racist insult. You could say that to anyone who came from somewhere else, no matter the color of their skin. Now, did you catch the last thing that was said? Mr. Ali has written a book called, in part, Go Back to Where You Came From. You see, he makes his living off of convincing black and brown people that America is a bad place. And that's why he hates people like Nikki Haley, or Candace Owens, or Dinesh D'Souza. If too many people of color realize that the modern left are using them, and that they themselves can become successful by making good decisions and working hard like Mrs. Haley has, people like Mr. Ali will have to find something else to do with his time. Ali has a financial agenda when it comes to Nikki Haley. He literally can't afford for someone like her to become an inspiring figure and the President of the United States. Someone who believes that her brown skin didn't hold her back. Someone who believes that any person with any skin color has the best chance to be successful in America. Imagine if everyone in this country believed that their decisions and actions are what determines their success and not their skin color. The sky would be the limit. The sad part is that we don't have to imagine what happens to people when they don't believe that. People like Mr. Ali make a good living convincing people of color that they don't have a chance to make it in America. And MSNBC wants us to think he's the good guy, while the optimistic brown lady who believes anyone can be successful in this country is somehow an agent of white supremacy. I'm afraid that the left's character assassination of Nikki Haley is driven by their political and financial agendas. That's why they don't back up any of their claims with examples. And that's the simple truth. Now, I would like to add that I'm not saying there aren't reasons one might not want to vote for Nikki, but it's not because she's some kind of a Manchurian candidate for white supremacists. That's just ridiculous. Now, if you want to see something else that's ridiculous, and you like below the belt humor, check out my video called 7-Layer Burrito. Hey guys, thanks for watching. And if you all want to support this channel, check out the links in the description, and let's keep putting some common sense back into the great debate.